In other global news, the war in Gaza is going to last for many more months. The Israeli army has again made this very clear as it says that the forces are close to dismantling Hamas in northern Gaza, while fighting continues to intensify in the Palestinian territory. Well, fears of the conflict spill over are now coming true. The Israeli army has released footage of what it says is a hostile aerial target heading towards Israel being shot down by its fighter jet over the Red Sea. The Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said that his country is in a multi-front war and are coming under attack from 7 different theatres. He further said that Israel has responded and taken action in at least 6 of these theatres. Delhi US strikes also hit Iraq. Strikes targeted pro-Iranian forces in the country. The Iraqi government says 1 member of its security forces was killed and 18 were injured. The US says its retaliatory strikes came a day after 3 of its military personnel were wounded in an attack on its base. Explosions were also reportedly heard off the coast of Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, while the Israeli military said an anti-tank missile fired by Lebanon's Hezbollah group wounded 9 of its soldiers. Hezbollah has announced the death of 2 of its militants as well. On the other hand, fighting continues in Gaza. The Israeli army said it had struck more than 100 targets in the last 24 hours, including Hamas military sites, tunnel shafts and other infrastructures. The IDF announced on Tuesday that 3 more soldiers had been killed in fighting in the Gaza Strip, bringing the toll of killed troops since the start of the ground offensive to 161. The Hamas-run health ministry says that at least 30 people have been killed in strikes in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis. And these are the visuals from Beit Lahia in northern Gaza. The Israeli strikes here destroyed multiple buildings, including the Indonesian hospital in the area as well. While this is an Israeli army video showing its forces entering camps in the center of the Gaza Strip, the army says it has expanded its fight to the densely populated urban refugee camp in the central part. While Hamas released a footage showing the group's military wing targeting Israeli military vehicles in northern Gaza. Well, WION cannot verify the location and date when the video was shot. Meanwhile, the United Nations has named an outgoing Dutch finance minister as its humanitarian coordinator for Gaza. This follows last week's watered-down Security Council resolution, which called for aid to be supplied to Gaza at scale. And we're still on with the continuous coverage of the Israel-Hamas war. We might close the curtains on this year very soon. But those residing in the Gazan enclave cannot turn a blind eye to the catastrophe unfolding in front of them. While Gaza's vast majority of over 2 million people are now displaced from their homes, the United Nations are calling the humanitarian situation in Gaza as a human chessboard, a place where nowhere is safe. After Israeli army issued a warning to Gazans, those living in central Gaza's Bureij camp were forced to evacuate. Many Palestinians claim to have followed Israel's evacuation orders since the war began, only to find little spaces or no space at all in a densely populated enclave.
رموا مناشير وقالوا نطلع ويدافعوا دروسنا وخبطوا أف-16 وزنانات وحزام ناريات حوالينا وطلعنا فوعينا من الدور شردنا.
Palestinians living in Gaza's largest refugee camp of Jabalia are struggling to find clean water. After weeks of Israeli bombing, Jabalia, which houses over 100,000 people, are dependent on food, medicine and other essential supplies from the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. However, the blockade of aid supply to this camp has only added on to the misery of these refugees.
هي الوحيدة يعني أغلبية الناس بتصفيها عشان تشربها بحطوا كلور بكلور عشان يقدروا يشربوها.
As the war rages on, Gazans residing in the southern part of the Strip have turned to wood for making fire due to lack of fuel and energy supply in the region. Palestinian telecommunications company said that internet and phone services are cut across the Strip as well, and this marks fourth such communication breakdown since the war began on October 7th.